Hello everyone. Today we are going to do together one of the examples that I have given in an exam in previous years regarding Prolog. Let's read the question. Consider the following Prolog knowledge base that stores information regarding students. We need to store their ID, their name, the city of residence, and the area of residence, and the village they come from. So let's have a look at our predicates. The predicate name is student. The first record refers to Doreen. This is the name. She resides in Blantyre, the city. The area in Blantyre is Cameza, and the student is coming from Balaka. The second student is Sheriff. He is residing in Blantyre, in Chirimba, and he is originally from Mangochi, and so on. We also have a second predicate called region. So we are told that Blantyre, for example, has a region called Cameza, which is in the south of Blantyre. The next one would be Chirimba, so this is a region in Blantyre in the south. And then Naperi is also a region in the Blantyre in the east. So the first thing to do is to open Prolog. So I have opened the Prolog window that you're familiar with. The next thing, we need a new file. So I'm going to start a new file. Let me change the settings so that you can have a bigger font and you can see. Okay, let me choose the font. Arial, regular, okay, 24. Okay. So I'm going to open a new file. So I'm going to say new. I'm going to call this students knowledge base. Okay. Save. Okay. In this window, I'm going to now write the predicates. Because I have them already, I'm going to simply copy them. So there you are. We have the predicate student and the predicate region. So I'm going to save this now. And sorry, let me put save buffer because we already gave a name. And I'm going to compile. Okay, there's an operator unexpected. We forgot a full dot. So I'm going to put a full dot in there. Save buffer, compile, and make. So let's go back in here. We have a syntax error. Probably that was before when we had the missing full stop. So in the question, you are asked the following. Ask the following queries. List all the students that come from the south. So first of all, how do we list all the students? Well, we'll have to use the predicate, and this case is student. Okay. And then we want to list all of them. Now, if we don't know which values we want, we can just use variables. So we can say X is the variable for the ID, Y is the variable for the name, Z is for the city. Okay, so maybe we can even call them like that. ID. Remember, if you look into the Prolog book, you're going to see that variables have to start with capital letters. So we have the ID, the name, then we have the city of residence, we have the area in the city, and the home of the student. Okay, so if I do that, I get the first result. And of course, they're going to be processed in order in which they appear in the knowledge base. So the first one would be Doreen, coming from Blantyre, is residing in Blantyre at Cameza, and she's for Balaka. Now remember that if I press enter, I will only get the first result. If I press the key with semicolon, I get all of them. Okay, so all the three students. Of course, the query gives you just list all the students. Now, of course, you can do what I did. If you just want to list the names, we can do this. This particular symbol, underscore, means I don't really want to know the information about the ID. So let's say I only want to know the name. I don't care about the city, I don't care about the area, and I don't care about the place of residence. So this would give me now all the students' names. Okay, but let's look at the queries. We want to know the students who are in the south, probably of the locations. This is not very well phrased here. So students who are in the south of Malawi, probably. But we don't have enough information in the knowledge base. So let's say they are in the south of Blantyre. So just putting here south of Blantyre, yeah? Blantyre, south of Blantyre. Okay. Good. So how do we do that? Well, you can see that in my query here, in my query, I only know about the students, but I won't be able to tell whether these students come from the south of Blantyre, because in the predicate student, you can see here, I don't have that information. I'm only told that they are from Kameza, for example, or Chirimba. So we don't know where are these regions in Blantyre. Are they in the south or north or east, and so on. So what do we do? Well, normally, when you have this information in a typical table, you do a joint. So you do a joint by a field. Now, in this case, our joint would be between the predicate student and the predicate region. What do they have in common? Well, basically, they have in common the first two. So they have the city, the region in common. So we can do a joint on those two. So how do we do that? We say student, and let's say we don't care about the ID. We want the name of the student. The student has to come from Blantyre, right? Because we want the south of Blantyre. From a certain area in Blantyre. See here I have capital A, which means this is a variable. I don't know the name. I'm looking for it. Yes, and they are from a certain place, home. Or you might not even care where are they from. And then we do comma. So this would be joint. Joint, the predicate, region. So what do we want? We want them to come from Blantyre. Blantyre. We want them to be from the same area. So this has to be the same variable, right? Because we are joining. We are doing a joint. And we want this to be from the south. Okay, full stop. And we can see that Doreen is from Kameza. So now area gets unified with the value Kameza. Okay, and Sharif is also from Chirimba, and it should be all. Now, the reason we get false is because the program will try to see if Virginia is also from a region or resides in the south of Blantyre. But of course, that's not true because Virginia resides in Naperi, which is in the east. Okay, the next query we asked, which students live in Naperi? So where would that information be? Well, it can be in the student, yeah? So what do we want? We want to check in the student. Let's say we don't care about the ID. We want the name of the student, so we use a variable called name. We want them to be from Blantyre. And we want them to be from Naperi. So we can write like that, Naperi. And then we don't care where they are from originally. So you can see here that we have, okay, there's a problem. What's the problem? I have put Naperi with a capital N, which now becomes a variable. So I made a mistake there. So I'm going to say here, no, this has to be a small letter to be a value. So you can see that the only student who is from Naperi is indeed Virginia. Okay, let's add more information to the database. Let's see if we want to add another student. How do we do that? Let's put another student. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add another student, number 4. And it's called Anna, and she's from Lilongwe, or resides in Lilongwe. Okay, and I don't know which area 1 in Lilongwe, and she's originally from Lilongwe. let's add another student. So this is number 5 and is Mark. And Mark, let's say, resides in Lilongwe and is from area 5 and he's originally from Mzuzu. Okay. Now, of course, we can add some more regions. So we can say in Lilongwe, we have area 1, and I don't know, let's put this central. I don't know exactly where it is. And then we can also say in Lilongwe, we have this region called area 5, and let's say that this is in the west. Okay, so let's now save. And I'm going to compile and I'm going to make. Okay, great. So let's run again. Let's run the query again and say I want all the students. You can see that I will get now more students. Anna, which is the student we added, and also Mark. Let's ask, I want all the students from Mzuzu. How do I do that? Well, I want to use the predicate student. Let's say I don't want to necessarily know their ID. I want to know their name. I don't necessarily need to know where they reside, but I do want to know that they are from Mzuzu. Full stop. And you can see that we only have one student from Mzuzu, which is Mark. Now let's find out all the students from Lilongwe. Okay, there's only one student from Lilongwe. Okay, and this would be Anna. Okay, let's stop here for now. What you could do to play with this code is to add more students and more information about regions, and then ask queries about them. For example, how about you want to print all the possible cities in which students reside. So you have to do student, and you don't care about the ID, you don't care about the name, you want to know the city where they reside, and you don't really care about the region and where they are from. And then you can see here that you've got now the cities. But one thing you're going to see is that you are given all the data that's in the database as if you were doing a select. So even the ones that are not distinct will be printed. So you don't get unique values in here. For that, you'll have to use other things. Let's stop here for now. Thank you.